Before we dive into the trials of the Ziggurat on this episode of Game Time from 734 Games, my nephew is getting cancer treatments, and his GoFundMe is in the description. And any of the proceeds from this channel, if you donate to this channel, will go to his cancer treatments. And let's get started with the trials of the Ziggurat. The game is actually called Ziggurat. Let's check it out. And with that, let's talk about Ziggurat. Now, this game was actually named after an ancient type of structure in the Middle East that existed in the ancient Mesopotamia, which is kind of weird, but this kind of fits with this game. This game kind of has that old school feel, that, Bronze Age feel. Basically, you're a wizard who is going through the trials of the Ziggurat, basically where you got to go through different floors of this structure and fight off a bunch of enemies and bosses. And this game is a roguelike. So it's really hard. You die and you go all the way back to the beginning. And that's pretty much how it goes. But, it's a lot of fun and it's very addictive. And when you do die, you actually the game kind of rewards you with stuff. So it's kind of cool. I like that. It's very addictive. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. This game is by Milestone Studios. So that's the developer and the publisher of this game. You can play it on Linux, Mac, and Windows. And I don't know about the next-gen consoles. And yes, this game is available on the Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation 4, which makes it available on the PS5 and Xbox Series X. So you can play this game on the consoles as well. I'm playing this on Linux right now. You're watching the Linux version. And I use this tool called MiniGalaxy because it's really weird installing GOG games in Linux, and it doesn't seem to work very well unless you have MiniGalaxy, and it works awesome. I'm going to leave that link in the description too. So check that out. That's a pretty cool little thing for Linux, a little app for Linux that you want to definitely check out if you are a Linux user. Now, I enjoyed this game. It's pretty cool. You go through, you blast a bunch of minions, and you fight different bosses. And it's just you just run, survive, shoot, and that's basically run and gun. It kind of reminds me back in the day. There was this game called Hexen. It was I think the studio that made Quake and Doom made that game. I want to say it's an old game. This kind of reminds me of that, and I think they kind of saw that formula and put it into a roguelike, which is pretty cool, and it works pretty well. And the gameplay is addictive, and it's fun. And it may not be for everyone. This is an indie title, and the graphics, while they look decent, they are not up there with your big AAA FPS games that you probably see out there. Don't expect Doom Eternal type graphics and gameplay. But what's here is good, and you're probably going to enjoy it if you like FPS games, and you're not a big graphics person where you can't enjoy a game without high-end graphics. If that's the case, then this is probably not the game for you. But it's still a lot of fun, and there's a lot of enemies to shoot, and a lot of different enemy types, and you're going to enjoy it. The bosses are interesting, and the gameplay is interesting. The style is kind of a cartoonish style, and there's not any dialogue. It's mainly just text. So it's not it's obviously an indie game, and it's not one of your high budget AAA titles. But there's a lot here to like, and if you're into roguelikes, then this is definitely for you. Ziggurat. Oh, and this game actually has a sequel that just came out recently. I saw it. It's not yet on Steam, but it is on, it's not yet on GOG, but it's on Steam. So check that out. It's I've seen it up there. I want to say it's around $16. This game is around $15. I'm sure you can find it used. I've had this game in my library for a while, though. I think I probably got it on a GOG sale. And you can always find these games on these indie titles. So just look around. There's some really good sites for that anyway. And that's pretty much it for this episode of Game Time. This is your host, Tom, signing off from 734 Games, where gaming is alive.